southbound coast and streaming live in HD worldwide at foxbangor.com. More people choose Good Morning Maine.
Hello, everyone. Today on Good Morning Maine, a procession was held yesterday from Augusta to Newport for Game Warden Josh Tibbetts. We'll have the story coming up.
Plus, Vice President J.D. Vance is set to visit the Queen City today. We'll tell you about the preparations coming up.
And the city of Ellsworth is planning to open a substance abuse recovery clinic. We'll have that story as well.
Good morning and welcome to Good Morning Maine. I'm Janessa Bishop.
And I'm Craig Colson. Thank you for joining us this morning. We'll have those stories and a lot more coming up, including our pet of the week. Yes. But first, a check of that forecast, and we can expect a gray, cloudy day today.
Yep.
Passing showers from time to time. But hang in there because the weekend is looking fantastic.
The weekend looks awesome.
Yeah.
We'll turn things over to meteorologist Devin Biggs.
Alrighty, Craig and Janessa, thank you very much. Happy Thursday. Your first weather forecast brought to you by Quality Automotive and Brewer. Experience the Quality Automotive difference. Reliable service and expert care that you can depend on. Call us to schedule your next appointment. 922-2043. Alrighty, here we go. We have a small craft advisory that has been issued until 8 a.m. as we head towards your Saturday. We will be watching for some active surf that will be occurring until about that time frame. But in the meantime, here we are. We have some rain that has been passing through. We will be catching a break as this begins to move out of here. Still some intermittent showers, rain showers that is, that will be passing through on and off throughout the period, even though low pressure will be tracking for the most part farther down toward the south. Meanwhile, there's the rain across the region. Again, the main area low pressure farther down toward the south, but again, intermittent rain showers will be possible across our neck of the woods today. A lot of clouds though, but again, there's the heavier of the rain showers staying to the south, and that will be common today, even through parts of tomorrow morning. Gusty winds today reaching up to about 20 miles per hour. It will start to decrease later on tonight. Your hourly forecast moving forward today, we do have the clouds, rain showers expected, temperatures in the 60s. Your full 5-day forecast is coming up. Craig and Janessa.
Thank you very much, Devin. We'll see you later on. Well, hearts are heavy this morning following that solemn and lengthy procession carrying Warden Service pilot Joshua Tibbetts from Augusta to Newport yesterday. Authorities say the 50-year-old died in a plane crash earlier this week while working in Franklin County. Our Doug Banks with the story.
He died what he loved doing.
Joshua Tibbetts was honorably transferred from Augusta to a Newport funeral home Wednesday morning. The 50-year-old from New Gloucester died in a plane crash on Tuesday.
Such a tragic scenario for the state of Maine.
He was stalking fish and collecting data over Schoolhouse Pond in the Franklin County town of Avon when the Maine Department of Inland Fisheries and Wildlife says his Cessna 185F automatically dispatched a distress call at around 11 a.m. Franklin County authorities responded and confirmed it was Tibbetts who died in the crash. He was the only one on board, and the cause of the crash remains unknown as of Wednesday.
We have been in communication with the FAA as well as the NTSB and will be assisting them with their investigation over the upcoming days.
Tibbetts served as a Maine game warden for 18 years, the last 3 as a pilot. Inland Fisheries and Wildlife says he supported search and rescue missions, conservation efforts, and public safety across Maine.
It was shock. Known Josh forever. Just total shock. Great guy. Lived right in the area, did so much for his community and the state.
Corinna Assistant Fire Chief Sean Richards described Tibbetts as full of fun and one of a kind.
He had the nickname of Boomer. He was loud and full of fun and boisterous, and everybody I think that's associated with Josh has a funny story about times that they had with him, good times and good talks. He's really one of a kind. Grew right up in town with him. Coached him in Little League Baseball, Babe Ruth Baseball. Went to our school systems here. Hometown guy, hometown hero.
Richards on Wednesday was one amongst a sea of state and local authorities and community members between Augusta and Newport who paid their respects.
It was kind of somber, but it was also just amazing to see the support for the man, his family, and the Warden Service, basically the whole state of Maine.
In Newport, Doug Banks, ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
Two men arrested in Bangor on Monday appeared in court yesterday in connection with a Maine Drug Enforcement and Homeland Security investigation. 34-year-old Carl Harvey of Glenburn and 52-year-old Adam Brooks were taken into custody just after 6 p.m. at the intersection of Audlin Road and Hammond Street Extension. Assistant Attorney General Jason Horn said it started with a home invasion that allegedly involved Harvey and Brooks. According to court testimony, 4 vehicles pulled into the driveway in Herman all at the same time.
On surveillance video at the house, Mr. Harvey can be seen getting out of the lead vehicle with Adam Brooks. Harvey has a bandana and sunglasses on and immediately pulls out a pistol.
The prosecutor said luckily no one was at home at the time, or it could have turned out much differently. MDA says agents located the car at a hotel with drugs and 2 loaded guns inside. Harvey is facing multiple charges, including burglary, aggravated drug trafficking, and possession of a firearm by a prohibited person. He's being held on $150,000 bail. Adam Brooks is facing 4 counts. He's being held on $20,000 bail.
Well, Vice President J.D. Vance is set to visit Bangor today, and preparations for his arrival are now in place. The Bangor Police Department says people can expect a lot of extra traffic around the Bangor airport during that visit. People may want to avoid that area. As our Alex Schley tells us, residents have mixed emotions about that visit.
Thursday, Air Force Two is scheduled to touch down in the Queen City. According to the White House's website, Vance is expected to deliver remarks at 12:30 at Bangor International Airport's aviation fixed base operator on Main Avenue. A spokesperson for the National Republican Party says the vice president plans to use the visit to highlight what Republicans describe as Democratic mismanagement of the state. Residents are mixed on how they feel about the impending visit.
I think it's pretty cool. I mean, I think anytime that somebody that's like big and famous is cool that they're coming to our small little town.
I just wonder why. Like, what's he doing here and what does he want?
Why? I'm curious.
It's great. I mean, to have a vice president come to the city and see the people of Bangor is a great thrill.
Both airport and police officials declined to discuss specific security measures. However, Wednesday night, no parking, temporary police order signs lined the roads surrounding the airport. Officials also put out a statement urging travelers to plan ahead. While commercial flights are expected to operate on schedule, they warn of heavier than normal traffic and possible delays. In Bangor, Alex Schley for ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
The doors at Bangor Aviation will open at 9:30 this morning, and the program itself will get underway at 11:30, and then the vice president is expected to deliver his remarks sometime around 12:30.
A hearing on the Citizens Initiative, an act to designate school sports participation in facilities by sex, stretched into its second day. Initially, the Secretary of State's office found the initiative's petition efforts to be valid, but a suit was filed to challenge that decision. Petition gatherers were questioned on what towns they visited and if they ever pre-filled any of the information on the petition sheets. Attorney Chris Dodge, who is representing those challenging the petitions, says some of the sheets look like the same person filled out the information, like the voter's printed name, street address, and municipality. Written or closing arguments are due by midnight this Friday, and a decision is due 5 business days after that. The decision can be challenged in Superior Court.
The town of Millinocket has placed Fire Chief Jonathan Cody on paid administrative leave pending an investigation. Emails obtained by ABC 7 and Fox 22 indicate the move at this point is not considered a disciplinary action. In the meantime, Second Assistant Chief Farrington has assumed interim operational leadership of that fire department. Town Manager Peter Jameson says officials hope to reach a resolution in the coming weeks.
Boards across the state scramble to finalize their budgets before they go out to voters. Folks in the town of Hamden are feeling an increased squeeze on their wallet. Hamden makes up the largest share of both students and revenue for RSU 22, which covers 4 towns. School board members say they've worked tirelessly to keep costs low. However, property valuation in Hamden reached over $1 billion this year, and the town is going through property tax and value reassessment for the first time since 1992. It's something the school board has to balance for their budget and an issue causing costs to skyrocket.
You know, we understand that there are a lot of people who, this is a hard economy right now, and prices are going up. They're seeing it at the gas pump. We're trying to be sensitive to that, and while also running a school district that parents want to move to bring their kids and have their kids educated here.
A district-wide meeting for the RSU 22 budget will be held on June 4th. You can visit our website at foxbangor.com to learn more information.
A network of substance abuse recovery clinics will open a brand new location in Ellsworth to address the lack of services in that area. Everest Recovery is a network of opioid use disorder clinics. The company recently completed the city's review process and is renovating a vacant building for the new Ellsworth facility. City planner Brittany Merrill says Everest Recovery identified Ellsworth as a community in need of treatment services based on their research.
They noticed that there was a lack of such services in this area. Because of the distance people are traveling in order to receive these services, it does put a burden on those citizens.
Merrill says the clinic will help address a major gap in the county's treatment services. Everest Recovery hopes to open up that new clinic later on this year.
The time now is 8:11, Coming up next on Good Morning Maine, we'll learn the history behind Searsport's Sea Captain statue and how it was created.
But first, another look at that forecast. A cloudy day ahead today with a chance of rain showers, high temperatures around 63 degrees. Rain continuing tonight with lows dropping down to the upper 40s. Tomorrow, rain to start out the day, highs around 63. We'll be right back.
Paramount Paving, Maine's go-to for all your paving and seal coating. Paramount Paving offers commercial and residential paving and seal coating services throughout eastern and central Maine. Give us a call for a free estimate today. Paramount Paving. When it comes to paving, we are Paramount.
You know, I've been a pretty colorblind kind of buyer. I'm starting to get some loyalty with John Deere, and a lot of that's because of United and because of the idea that they have the service that I need and the parts on hand that I need. I'm all about value. I think that, you know, we finally got a dealer that wants to try to be competitive with value.
Brought to you by United Ag and Turf, your local John Deere dealer.
It's mowing season. And Bad Boy Mowers has the best lineup in the game. Built to win with more power, advanced engineering, and performance that never quits. Whether you're playing on this field or this field. So this mowing season, raise your game and join the team. Bad Boy, mow with an attitude.
Paramount Paving, Maine's go-to for all your paving and seal coating. Paramount Paving offers commercial and residential paving and seal coating services throughout eastern and central Maine. Give us a call for a free estimate today. Paramount Paving. When it comes to paving, we are Paramount.
Saturday on Fox.
Oh my gosh!
Zen and adrenaline collide in the Bassmaster Elite Series.
Woo! Let's go!
Where the best anglers in the world battle the wild and each other.
You want some of this? Yes!
The hunt
Look at that thing!
is on.
Woo!
The Bassmaster Elite Series, Saturday on Fox.
Welcome back, everyone. The bridge connecting Milford and Old Town will be revamped in the upcoming weeks. The Maine Department of Transportation began work on resurfacing the bridge yesterday as part of a surface replacement project. The changes will include resetting curbs, structural repair, paving, and ADA-compliant sidewalks. The DOT says there will be 2 lanes of two-way traffic open at all times, and folks may experience temporary delays. The project is expected to be completed by the end of June.
The Eastern Area Agency on Aging is hosting its 15th annual Healthy Aging Expo today. Over 70 vendors ranging from healthcare services to nonprofits will be at the Anna Shrine from 10 a.m. until 2 p.m. The agency Communications and Development Director, Chris Hill, says the expo is a great opportunity to have so many resources under one roof.
We kind of view this as a catalyst and a facilitator for our older community to interact with our vendors and things like that. So this is a great opportunity, as I said, to get those questions answered and see what's around.
The expo is free for attendees and will also feature a 50-50 raffle and a food truck outside.
Last November, a 9-foot bronze sea captain statue was unveiled in the town of Searsport. Now the woman who spent years trying to make it a reality is sharing what it means to see it become a community staple. Our Grace Blanchard with that story.
Looking over the town of Searsport is a piece of its heritage.
When I was a little girl, Searsport was known as the home of sea captains.
The sea captain statue was unveiled last November, but the idea for it came decades before that.
And I was probably around 8 or 9 years old. My mother gave me just a little statue of a sea captain. Doesn't look anything like that one, but just a little statue. And I remember thinking then, oh, Searsport needs to have a statue.
A few years ago, during the 175th anniversary of the town, Kelly joined forces with her longtime friend Natalie Knox to make the statue a reality. Unfortunately, Natalie fell ill and passed before that could happen.
So I just kind of sat back and thought, I can't do this. No way could I do this.
After her husband passed just months after Natalie, she felt motivated to make it happen. That's when support from area communities started flowing in.
I call it a dream come true because it's on the back plaque, because just so many people stepped up.
Since then, the statue has become a community staple.
It went in late last year, but even with it going in later and being installed later, I saw people stopping and taking pictures in front of it.
The statue has been dedicated to Natalie Knox and is displayed prominently in front of the Penobscot Marine Museum. A gift from Kelly to her friend and the town she's always called home.
I needed something I could leave. I wanted to have something that I knew I was responsible for.
In Searsport, Grace Blanchard, ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
We'll have more on what's happening in the town of Searsport during our Live on the Road show this Friday.
That's coming up this Friday. That's going to be great. What a wonderful statue, too.
It is. It's really neat.
Yeah. Real quick note before we take the break. I mentioned it during the last hour. People waking up in Newport today, some of them do not have water.
Yeah.
Had a big water main break there about 4 a.m. I saw a picture from there. It looked like an old faithful geyser coming right up out of the street.
It really did. That's not a good way to start your morning.
Yeah. So Public Works crews are working on the water right now in downtown Newport, but it could be a while before they get water service back.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah.
Well, the time now is 8:17. After the break, President Trump meeting with the president of China overnight. We'll have the latest on that.
Plus, a vigil held in Washington, D.C. in honor of fallen police officers. Those stories and more coming up on Good Morning Maine.
Looking for a welcoming place where quality and care meet? Come to the Cheese House in Fairfield, your local shop for premium herbs, wellness products, and friendly guidance. Whether you're curious or experienced, our knowledgeable team takes the time to help you find exactly what works for you, with respect and no judgment. Visit us today at 5 Pike Drive. The Cheese House. Quality, community, care. We're here for you.
On the Road, broadcasting the news at 6, live from Searsport, is brought to you by Colburn Shoe, with a wide selection of name brand shoes and sandals for spring and summer. Colburn Shoe Belfast, America's oldest shoe store. Top-notch detailing in Herman. Give me a call today to schedule your appointment, 232-2933. K&M Auto Repair in Holden, offering more than 25 years of automotive expertise. Come see us for your automotive repairs.
Susan Collins' charade is over. We don't care that you pretend to be remorseful at the start of a new forever war that you chose to let happen. We don't care that you are concerned while we go broke as you sell us out to the president and to the Epstein class, who are engineering the greatest redistribution of wealth from the working class to the ruling class in this nation's history. Symbolic opposition doesn't reopen hospitals.
hospitals. Weak condemnations don't bring back Roe v. Wade, and selling out the same working class voters who've delivered mandate for change after mandate for change is not forgivable. A performative politics that enables the destruction of our way of life is disqualified as a United States Senator. I am running because it is time for change.
I'm Graham Plattner, and I approve this message.
Welcome back, everyone. The candlelight vigil honoring fallen police officers taking place at the National Mall in Washington, D.C. yesterday. The National Law Enforcement Officers Memorial Fund hosting that event, now in its 38th year. Those in attendance remembering the lives of fallen law enforcement officers from all around the country.
We live in a dangerous world, and we ask men and women like you and like the fallen to run into danger when many of us would not. And we take that for granted sometimes, but we shouldn't. And the week that we're having here, that we have every year in Washington, D.C., is the perfect opportunity for every one of us to realize and recognize the importance of a cop, of a public safety officer, of a federal officer, of a firefighter, of the men and women that keep us safe inside this country. There is nothing more important.
The vigil takes place every May 13th during National Police Week. An estimated 30,000 people were expected to be in attendance yesterday.
A lot of different towns and cities, too, across the country celebrating and remembering this week. Well, the time now is 8:21. Let's get a full look at our forecast with meteorologist Evan Biggs.
Alrighty, Craig and Janessa, thank you very much. Your full weather forecast brought to you by Quality Automotive and Brewer. Experience a Quality Automotive difference. Reliable service and expert care that you can depend on. Call us to schedule your next appointment, 922-2043. Alrighty, here we go. Small craft advisory up until 8 a.m. as we head towards your Saturday. Watching for some active surf that will be occurring along the coast. Let's check out the active wave heights, just around 4 feet according to the buoys, a little bit lower further off towards the north and east. This will be increasing as we do move forward with low pressure tracking off towards the east, further down toward the south. So that's going to keep a lot of the rain that we are seeing on land right now. That's going to keep a lot of this farther down toward the south as the current wave tracks off towards the north and east. So we are seeing some rain this morning. This is going to track off to the north and east. We'll still see some rain showers today, but we are going to catch a lot of breaks though with again some intermittent rain showers. But the bulk of low pressure, you can see the clouds right there, will stay toward our south today, but just close enough again where we will still stay wet moving forward today and tonight. So futurecast for today, still some rain showers, the heaviest staying further off towards the west. And then again, notice how it starts to fizzle as we head towards your Friday. We'll start to push us out of here as we head towards Friday night with the clouds beginning to break up as we head towards early Saturday morning. But again, as I do push the additional rainfall forward, the heaviest further off towards the west, lesser totals further off towards the east. Now, gusty winds for today reaching up to about 20 to 25 miles per hour. And we are going to keep the winds going just a little bit longer as we head towards tonight. But Friday, the winds will finally begin to relax. But in the meantime, for today, mostly cloudy, rain showers, lower 60s for the high, southeast wind at about 25 miles per hour. Overnight rain showers and areas of dense fog with lows in the upper 40s, and that east wind backing off a bit to about 5 to 10 miles per hour. Higher gusts not out of the question. Low 60s tomorrow, rain showers early, and then mostly cloudy. We'll still see some on and off rain showers too, with that northeast wind at about 5 to 10 miles per hour. Alrighty, let's check out your extended forecast. Finally drying out Saturday, partly cloudy with highs in the mid 70s, warming up too. Partly cloudy Sunday, a chance for rain showers, mid 70s for the high as well. Low 70s Monday under a partly cloudy sky.
Dreaming of a new garage or custom build? Patriot Landscaping and Construction delivers from frame to finish. Expert craftsmanship, durable designs, and quality you can trust, we get it done right. Call Patriot Landscaping and Construction today. Let's build your future together.
Everyone deserves to be connected. Big cities, small towns, everywhere in between. And staying connected shouldn't break the bank. That's why T-Mobile and US Cellular have joined forces. And now that we've combined networks, T-Mobile covers more places than ever before. America's best network just got bigger. Join now and your plan price is guaranteed for 5 years. T-Mobile and US Cellular, better together.
With the great backyard comes great responsibility. From the keeper of the flame to the referee of the greatest game ever played. Lifelong memories start here at Glen Burn Landscape and Supply. Residential and commercial projects are a breeze with our premium mulch, stone, and topsoil products. And maintain your backyard in style with the industry's leading lawn care products and equipment. Built to work and built to last. With rugged durability and superior performance, these tools were built for you. Glen Burn Landscape and Supply, where great backyards begin.
Think you know Robert Charles? Think again. While President Trump was crushing the woke left, DC insider Bob Charles was cashing in, making millions holding lucrative contracts with the woke DEI Never Trump Obama administration. Bob Charles, looking the other way, abandoning the MAGA movement, working for liberal DEI-loving Democrats, failing President Trump. Anything for a buck chuck can't be trusted. Trump traitor Robert Charles, woke, radical, wrong. Just too liberal for Maine.
Dreaming of a new garage or custom build? Patriot Landscaping and Construction delivers from frame to finish. Expert craftsmanship, durable designs, and quality you can trust, we get it done right. Call Patriot Landscaping and Construction today. Let's build your future together.
President Trump meeting with the president of China overnight, everything from Iran to trade to artificial intelligence on the agenda. With gas and food prices hitting new highs because of the war with Iran, officials say the Trump administration will be pushing China to play a, quote, more active role in resolving the conflict. ABC's Lionel Moyes reports.
An elaborate welcome for President Trump kicking off his long-awaited summit with Chinese President Xi Jinping. Xi opening the summit saying the U.S. and China have more common interests than differences.
It's an honor to be with you. It's an honor to be your friend. And the relationship between China and the USA is going to be better than ever before.
But during their closed-door meeting, a warning. State media reports Xi warned Trump that disagreements over Taiwan, which Beijing claims as part of its territory, could bring the two countries into conflict, saying handled well, the two countries can maintain stability. If handled poorly, the two countries will collide or even clash, putting the entire U.S.-China relationship in an extremely dangerous situation. The two leaders also visiting a temple.
Great place. Incredible. China's beautiful.
Did you talk about Taiwan, Mr. President? Posing for pictures, but ignoring questions about whether they discussed Taiwan. A state banquet is also planned for today. This as the war with Iran looms over the visit. Secretary of State Marco Rubio says the U.S. will try to persuade China to play a more active role in getting Iran to reopen the Strait of Hormuz.
It's in their interest to resolve this. Economies are melting down because of this crisis in the Straits. They're going to be buying less Chinese product, and the Chinese exports are going to drop precipitously.
But analysts say China will likely be in no rush to help.
They really see this as America's problem to solve, and they can afford to wait this out as they've built up their energy reserves.
China is the biggest buyer of Iranian oil. The Washington Post reports a U.S. intelligence assessment finds that China is gaining a major strategic edge over the U.S. because of the war. Lionel Moyes, ABC News, New York.
In other news, rescuers searched through the rubble of a collapsed residential building in Kyiv overnight after a Russian missile and drone attack. One resident saying people, including children, might have been inside the building when it came crashing down, recalling a powerful blast that shook her building. Officials say at least one person was killed and dozens wounded in that overnight assault in Ukraine. Authorities said the strike formed part of a massive bombardment involving hundreds of drones and dozens of missiles targeting multiple regions, including civilian infrastructure and housing in the capital.
It's being called the learning recession. A new report card is out on student test scores, and the news isn't good. Researchers say it's not just the pandemic that set student performance back. Here's ABC's Andrea Fujii.
This morning, American students are falling behind, performing worse than their peers a decade ago. And a new report says the decline cannot be blamed solely on the COVID pandemic.
The test score decline we see started 5 or 6 years before the pandemic and continued afterwards. And so the pandemic was a piece of a much longer story of decline in American education.
After analyzing reading and math scores dating back decades, researchers found what's being dubbed a reading recession. Reading scores dropped in more than 80% of school districts compared to 10 years ago. Math scores dropped in 70% of districts. One factor, they say, is social media.
The rise of social media seems to correspond with a big decline in reading for pleasure. So that decline in reading is just going to clearly have an impact on kids' vocabulary and their ability to read and comprehend.
They also blame a lack of testing and accountability. Congress, back in 2015, scrapped the No Child Left Behind law, which held schools accountable for student performance through standardized testing. Critics argued the law was too rigid and prioritized teaching to the test instead of a well-rounded curriculum. The ongoing teacher shortage is also being cited as a factor. More than 400,000 teaching positions last year were either vacant or filled with unqualified teachers. Chronic student absenteeism is also a problem, which took hold in the pandemic. But researchers say there is hope. Test scores increased dramatically between 1990 and 2013, and they say it can happen again.
I think knowing that should help galvanize us as a country to kind of refocus attention on making sure everyone has access to high-quality educational opportunity.
The report recommends identifying districts that need more funding and finding ways on how to get kids more engaged in the classroom. Andrea Fujii, ABC News, New York.
Coming up on the second half of the newscast, we'll hear from the Bangor Humane Society and meet our Pet of the Week.
Don't go away.
Is that a compression nut?
Oh! Ah! Ow!
We got a duct taper.
Think you're good at trivia? Arrange these holidays, these historic first, these animals. By the way,
I have no idea.
congratulations! You have built the perfect line. I'm Deborah Norville, and this is the perfect line.
Onion rings before, in between onion rings and pizza.
Definitely after. Oh, this is what happy looks like.
Weekdays at 10 on Fox 22.
You're watching Fox 22, Bangor.
Welcome back to Good Morning Maine. Today is Thursday, May 14th, 2026, and it is also Bond with Your Dog Day.
Most dog owners will tell you how much their pets bring to their lives. They provide unconditional love and companionship, and this is a day to show them how much we love them. This is also a day to find new ways to connect with your dog. A chance to spend a little extra time sharing activities, playing, training, and of course, sharing affection.
It will only strengthen that bond, and your dog will love it.
Maybe bring your dog to go get a pup cup today.
It's a good idea.
Little vanilla ice cream.
Yeah.
Give him a little treat.
Shake up their routine a little bit.
Yeah, it'd be fun.
All right, it's time for some history. It was on this day back in 1607, Jamestown, the first permanent English settlement in North America, was established by members of the Virginia Company. In 1804, on this date, Lewis and Clark began their journey to explore the newly acquired Louisiana Territory and the Pacific Northwest. President Thomas Jefferson wanted to learn what that portion of the country had to offer and commissioned that expedition to search all the way to the Pacific Ocean. And in 1856, the military imported camels from the Middle East to use them as pack animals, but that experiment was abandoned because of the Civil War and because of other issues. They simply decided camels probably
not a good idea.
Not the best for our country.
No, that's too funny.
Yeah.
In 1948, the independent state of Israel was proclaimed in Tel Aviv by David Ben-Gurion, its first prime minister. In 1961, buses carrying Freedom Riders were bombed and burned in Alabama. And in 1973, NASA launched Skylab, the first American space station. The successful venture was used for scientific experiments and to house 3 separate crews for extended amounts of time. It remained in space until 1979 when it left orbit and mostly burned up in our atmosphere.
I think a big chunk of it fell on Australia. Nobody got hurt, though.
Thankfully.
Yeah. And
That's a little scary.
Yeah, and this set us up for the International Space Station.
Exactly.
Some of the technology there.
Yeah. Well, lastly, in 1998, the final episode of the sitcom Seinfeld appeared on television.
All right, for birthdays today, they include Facebook founder Mark Zuckerberg, who is 42 today. Actress Cate Blanchett is 57, and director George Lucas is 82 years old today. Happy birthday to them, and to you also if your birthday is today.
We'll turn things right back over to meteorologist Devin Biggs.
Alrighty, Craig and Janessa, thank you very much. Happy Thursday. Your first weather forecast brought to you by Quality Automotive and Brewer. Experience the Quality Automotive difference. Reliable service and expert care that you can depend on. Call to schedule your next appointment, 922-2043. Alrighty, here we go. We have a small craft advisory that has been issued until 8 a.m. as we head towards your Saturday. We will be watching for some active surf that will be occurring until about that time frame. But in the meantime, here we are. We have some rain that has been passing through. We will be catching a break as this begins to move out of here. Still some intermittent showers, rain showers that is, that will be passing through on and off throughout the period, even though low pressure will be tracking for the most part farther down toward the south. Meanwhile, there's the rain across the region. Again, the main area low pressure farther down toward the south, but again, intermittent rain showers will be possible across our neck of the woods today. A lot of clouds though, but again, there's the heavier of the rain showers staying to the south, and that will be common today, even through parts of tomorrow morning. Gusty winds today reaching up to about 20 miles per hour. It will start to decrease later on tonight. Your hourly forecast moving forward today, we do have the clouds, rain showers expected, temperatures in the 60s. Your full 5-day forecast is coming up. Craig and Janessa.
Thank you, Devin. Still to come here this morning, Jack Webb with sports.
And then we'll bond with a little dog or a cat.
Yeah.
We don't know what it is yet.
We don't. We will see, though.
Our pet of the week also coming up. Don't go away.
Lakeshore Restaurant in Dexter is open for the season, featuring a wide selection of seafood, lobster, salad, sandwiches, and more. Plus, don't forget to save room for dessert. Dine in or take out at 16 Crockett Road in Dexter. Visit us today.
Are your basement walls bowing, crumbling, or failing? Hi, I'm Tony Hafford with TC Hafford Basement Systems. All things basementy. Our Stable Lock wall system offers a patented, affordable, and permanent solution to save your foundation walls. It stabilizes, fills voids, and structurally repairs, leaving a new smooth surface. All the strength of new walls. Call TC Hafford Basement Systems today for all things basementy.
You provide it all. There's no challenge you can't take on, because you've already taken on everything. You've gone above and beyond. It feels like you've brought them together. It feels like your home is taken care of. It feels like you're all at the top of your game. And with Fidium Fiber Internet, you are.
It feels like Fidium.
Meet the toughest team in the game. Bad Boy Mowers and Bad Boy Tractors. These powerhouses will do whatever it takes to win. Putting in the work with unrivaled engineering, game-changing features like heated seats and an Alpine entertainment system, plus durable implements and style that's in a league of its own. Bad Boy Mowers and Tractors. Power, performance, attitude.
Lakeshore Restaurant in Dexter is open for the season, featuring a wide selection of seafood, lobster, salad, sandwiches, and more. Plus, don't forget to save room for dessert. Dine in or take out at 16 Crockett Road in Dexter. Visit us today.
It's a special Fox UFL Friday. The Orlando Storm face the Dallas Renegades live at Fort Hood. It all kicks off at 8 Eastern on Fox.
Welcome back in, folks. The Husson University softball team has qualified for the NCAA tournament in each of the last 8 seasons. And for the 3rd time in 5 years, they'll host a regional round right here in Bangor. The Eagles hosted the tournament in 2021 and 24 and will do so again starting on Thursday as the number 12 ranked team in the nation for Division III. Eagles senior catcher Morgan Tainter acknowledged how great the opportunity is to play at home in the opening round of the NCAA tournament, not for the advantage that comes with that, but the idea that teams from around the region will be able to experience the town of Bangor.
We always love a good home field advantage, but to host it here and know that these schools aren't, like, most of them haven't played here ever, so we are super excited to be able to show them, like, what Bangor, Maine has to offer and how we're ready to come out and win.
The Eagles drew Endicott College in Monday's selection show and will face off with the Gulls on Thursday. Senior Morgan Curtis says that this team's goal did not stop at winning the NAC title and that they are here to win.
Pretty much we just remind each other that our record now is 0-0, and so is everybody else's. So when we show up to practice, we show up like it's warm-ups for a game. We have an expectation now, and being able to perform at the high standard of a regional is what we're focusing on.
Good luck to the Eagles. We'll have that game for you on Thursday. Keeping it local, Maine's 2025 Mr. Maine Baseball has made an instant impact with the University of Southern Maine Huskies baseball program as Foxcroft Academy alum Hayden Strout was recognized for his efforts on Wednesday. Strout was named the 2026 Little East Conference Rookie of the Year, becoming the first pitcher to win Rookie of the Year in a storied history for USM. The lefty posted a 6-1 record with a 3.38 ERA as the former Pony continues to dominate at the next level. The Huskies are hosting a regional in the NCAA tournament this weekend after winning the Little East Conference as they look to make a run in the national tournament. Let's stay on the diamond for some high school baseball action. We'll take you to Newport where the Nokomis Warriors hosted the Skowhegan Riverhawks. Some light rain in the mix in Newport, but we played ball anyway. In the first inning, it's going to be a hit from Jack Fitzpatrick as Nokomis looking for the easy out, but they can't clean it up. Fitzpatrick ends up on base. In the second inning, though, it's another nice hit from the Riverhawks, but Nokomis' Owen Sides tracks it down for the out. Riverhawks find a way to the base in the early goings of this one. John Johnson with a hit to right field, and he takes first. Then the Warriors took off. Maddox Hawthorne with a deep center hit. That would set up Jeff Carr for a big 2-run homer to make it 2-0. Sorry we missed that one, but we wanted to recognize you, Jeff. Riverhawks get on the board when Ari Brown's hits sends Fitzpatrick home, but the Warriors kept scoring. Owen Buck with a deep hit, and Hawthorne gets home again. Warriors go on to win 9-1. The Maine Mariners and Wheeling Nailers facing off in a critical Game 5 at the Cross Insurance Arena on Wednesday night. The Mariners scoring a dramatic 2-1 double overtime win last night to even up the series at 2. Back to the Cross we go. Hearts of Pine founder and Maine Sports Hall of Fame inductee Gabe Hoffman Johnson dropping tonight's ceremonial first puck. Nailers strike first in the first. Ryan McAllister follows his own rebound and puts it home for a 1-0 Wheeling lead. Minutes later, McAllister is going to look for another, but look at this stop from Luke Calavini. He's been on it these past 3 games. Big key to Mariners' success. Still in the first. Here come the Mariners. Ben Allison in the slot sends a splitzer to the back of the net. We're tied at 1. Less than a minute later, the red-hot Max Andreeve beats Taylor Gauthier. Mariners up 2-1 after the first period. Second period now, Mariners on the power play. It's going to be Andreeve. He's going to have the one-timer and slap it home for his second of the game. 3-1 Mariners now. They're rolling. Third period, Mariners up 4-2. Xander Lampa is going to feed Brooklyn Kalmikov for his second of the game. That was the knockout punch as the Mariners win Game 5, 5-3. They now lead the series 3-2. Can wrap things up Friday night in Game 6 at Wheeling. We'll head down to Boston for some headlines now, where some exciting news about the Patriots was released on Wednesday. The Pats will open the NFL season on Wednesday. Yes, a Wednesday, September 9th, in a Super Bowl rematch against the Seattle Seahawks, an early test for the 2026 Pats. It was also announced they'll be a part of the International Series. The Pats will travel to Germany to take on the Detroit Lions in Week 10. We'll have the entire schedule for you on Thursday night as it's released. And finally, we'll pivot to the ice now, where the Bruins got some news to look forward to, or not. Their star defenseman Charlie McAvoy will serve a 6-game suspension to start next season. In Game 6 of their series against the Buffalo Sabres, as time was winding down on their season, McAvoy got slew-footed by Sabres forward Zach Benson, and in response, McAvoy took an axe-style chop at Benson, which, as you'd assume, is highly illegal. So the Bruins assistant captain is slated to miss the first 6 games of next year. However, he does have the opportunity to appeal that one. Can't blame McAvoy there, but probably not the right thing to do, right? That's all the time we have for sports. Right back after the break.
A few weeks ago, I went down to the basement to see what was happening with the boilers and opened the door, and there was about 12 to 14 inches of water in our basement. I knew who to call right away, and that was Bouchard. They were here within a half hour. They work well with our insurance company. They're very, very efficient, and all I have to do is call them any time of day. They're going to take care of me. Our business is our life, and that's why I don't hesitate to recommend them to other people.
On the Road, broadcasting the news at 6, live from Searsport, is brought to you by Colburn Shoe, with a wide selection of name brand shoes and sandals for spring and summer. Colburn Shoe Belfast, America's oldest shoe store. Top-notch detailing in Herman. Give me a call today to schedule your appointment, 232-2933. K&M Auto Repair in Holden, offering more than 25 years of automotive expertise. Come see us for your automotive repairs.
This election, we can't afford to make the wrong choice. There's only one candidate with a 100% pro-choice voting record who can defeat Paul LePage and stop Trump. Joe Baldacci. As Bangor mayor, Joe fought LePage, and in the state Senate, he protected Mainers from ICE. Now Joe's running to stop Trump's illegal wars and healthcare cuts and deliver affordable healthcare for all.
I've taken on Paul LePage before and won. Join me. I'm Joe Baldacci, and I approve this message.
You know Matt pretty well. Did he give you any advice?
He said that I should use 26 words or more.
When every word counts.
Trash panda.
Raccoon.
Yeah. You hand me a trash panda.
That was gangster. It pays to choose wisely.
Wed, Thurs.
Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
You just won it! 25 words or less every weekday.
Weekdays at 9 on Fox 22.
Welcome back, everyone. Well, Catherine Ravenscraft joining us once again from Bangor Humane Society with our Pet of the Week. Hi, Catherine.
Hello.
Good to see
Hey.
you. Who is this little gremlin you brought us?
Oh my gosh, it is a little gremlin.
Yeah.
This is Ringer. Ringer is one of 4, a litter of 4 that came to us at the shelter, I think just last week. And they were old enough that all we needed to do was vet them, get them spayed or neutered, get them caught up on their vaccinations, and they were ready to go.
So,
I know.
He's been like just biting my hair.
He's the cute. He's the cutest little guy.
Very, very energetic.
Well, you look at that face.
I know.
I know.
It's the cutest little face.
So we think he's what?
So I know he's Shih Tzu, and our small animal coordinator told me what the other breed is, and I cannot remember. So it's another small breed.
Right.
He's not going to get significantly bigger than this.
Oh,
so yeah,
really?
10, 15 pounds maybe. I would be surprised.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you want to go back to Catherine?
Do you want to
he wants to see Catherine.
Go say hi. He doesn't really want to come to me. He just wants to move around. That's all. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Look at
I
that
don't think he likes
face.
being dressed.
Beautiful.
I know, and he's a mess right now.
He has a little chunky belly.
He is. Don't you just love a little puppy belly?
Everybody loves a puppy.
Oh
So
my
cute.
goodness.
And
yes.
people have a chance to meet this puppy perhaps and some others today.
Yes,
that's
from
right.
4 to 7 p.m. we actually scheduled a special event over at PetSmart so that we could try to be available for families, you know, kids out of school, families out of work, hopefully. So come on over to PetSmart from 4 to 7 when they'll be available. If you have any dogs in your home, you do need to bring your dogs and make sure that that they can meet with this little guy.
Right.
And if you rent, we need to be able to get in contact with your landlord just to make sure you're allowed to have
need
more
some
pets.
permission.
We do, yeah, because we want to make sure it's as permanent a fit as we
Right.
can
Absolutely.
make it. Yeah, so you'll have your chance. We may have some kittens over there as well, but we'll post a little later on our Facebook page and let people know
What
all
will
the
be there.
details.
Yeah,
who's
that's
gonna be
awesome
there.
chance for people to interact with all of them and kind of find the perfect fit.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. It's a nice little space, and PetSmart is a wonderful partner with us.
Yes.
So yes. What?
He wants to get down and play now.
I
he's
know he
really
does
energetic.
exactly. He's just
done
a
very
baby.
well.
Yeah, he's just a baby.
Yeah.
So this is, this is not unusual for the last year and a half of shelter life for us to be seeing local litters of puppies.
Right.
I think I've mentioned before that right up until the pandemic, all the puppies that we got were from Southern shelters.
Really?
And over the last couple of years, I think it's just getting harder for local breeders or folks who just end up with a whoopsie litter to find homes. So they're coming to us. So
a lot of these people, a lot of these critters have been in foster care too, so they won't necessarily appear on the website, but
exactly.
again, you can check them out for yourself today.
In person. That's always better, isn't it?
It's always better, because you think you might be looking for something specific in terms of breed or size or even gender, and then you meet the one.
You never know.
Exactly.
You never know until you get to meet them.
It's true. It's true.
This little dog is perfect. I love this little dog.
He really is.
Yeah.
I think he might actually take a nap on the way back to the shelter. He might actually be tuckered out.
Not a bad thing. Well, Catherine, thanks for coming in today. Good luck with the event today.
Thank you so much. I'm sure they'll go quickly.
Yeah.
For sure.
All right, we're going to send things back to Devin now for a final look at that forecast.
Alrighty, Craig and Janessa, thank you very much. Your full weather forecast brought to you by Quality Automotive and Brewer. Experience a Quality Automotive difference. Reliable service and expert care that you can depend on. Call us to schedule your next appointment, 922-2043. Alrighty, here we go. Small craft advisory up until 8 a.m. as we head towards your Saturday. Watching for some active surf that will be occurring along the coast. Let's check out the active wave heights, just around 4 feet according to the buoys, a little bit lower further off towards the north and east. This will be increasing as we do move forward with low pressure tracking off towards the east, further down toward the south. So that's going to keep a lot of the rain that we are seeing on land right now. That's going to keep a lot of this farther down toward the south as the current wave tracks off towards the north and east. So we are seeing some rain this morning. This is going to track off to the north and east. We'll still see some rain showers today, but we are going to catch a lot of breaks though with again some intermittent rain showers. But the bulk of low pressure, you can see the clouds right there, will stay toward our south today, but just close enough again where we will still stay wet moving forward today and tonight. So futurecast for today, still some rain showers, the heaviest staying further off towards the west. And then again, notice how it starts to fizzle as we head towards your Friday. We'll start to push us out of here as we head towards Friday night with the clouds beginning to break up as we head towards early Saturday morning. But again, as I do push the additional rainfall forward, the heaviest further off towards the west, lesser totals further off towards the east. Now, gusty winds for today reaching up to about 20 to 25 miles per hour. And we are going to keep the winds going just a little bit longer as we head towards tonight. But Friday, the winds will finally begin to relax. But in the meantime, for today, mostly cloudy, rain showers, lower 60s for the high, southeast wind at about 25 miles per hour. Overnight rain showers and areas of dense fog with lows in the upper 40s, and that east wind backing off a bit to about 5 to 10 miles per hour. Higher gusts not out of the question. Low 60s tomorrow, rain showers early, and then mostly cloudy. We'll still see some on and off rain showers too, with that northeast wind at about 5 to 10 miles per hour. Alrighty, let's check out your extended forecast. Finally drying out Saturday, partly cloudy with highs in the mid 70s, warming up too. Partly cloudy Sunday, a chance for rain showers, mid 70s for the high as well. Low 70s Monday under a partly cloudy sky.
You're getting ripped off. Criminals overbill Maine Care. They even charge for fake services, and Janet Mills let it happen. I'm Jonathan Bush. I've built systems that stopped fraud and abuse and saved customers millions. As governor, I'll audit every program and reduce that waste and fraud. Politicians and lobbyists don't have what it takes to clean up this corruption, but I do. I'm Jonathan Bush. Let's shake up Augusta.
Even if you have moderate to severe eczema, you can feel the rhythm, feel the flow. And Dupixent helps you feel the heal. It helps calm a key source of inflammation under the skin that can cause eczema. Some adults saw fast itch relief after the first dose and long-lasting clear skin at 1 year. Many even saw 90% clear skin. Severe allergic reactions, including skin reactions, can occur. Get help right away for face, mouth, tongue, or throat swelling, wheezing, or trouble breathing. Tell your doctor right away of new or worsening eye problems like eye pain or vision changes, skin symptoms, joint aches and pain, or a parasitic infection. Don't change or stop other treatments without talking to your doctor. Stay ahead of eczema and help heal your skin from within. Dupixent, the #1 prescribed biologic by dermatologists and allergists. Ask your eczema specialist about Dupixent today.
Welcome to H&H Mercantile, your local destination for Maine treasures. We offer a wide array of products from handmade arts and crafts to pet essentials, games, and local products, such as maple syrup and farm-fresh eggs. Every visit supports Maine artisans and growers. Located at 31 East Main Street in Searsport, we are open 6 days a week. Come visit us today. It's more than a shopping trip. It's a celebration of our local community.
A historic racetrack in Maryland is preparing for its final races. Champions like Seabiscuit and Secretariat once graced the track here at Laurel Park. Now the iconic track is getting ready to close down for good, but not before one final blowout, which will see patrons donning tailored suits and flowing dresses as fans take in the Preakness Stakes on Saturday, the second leg of the horse racing Triple Crown. This is the first time the track has hosted the race and seems to be a fitting climax to the track, which is expected to be converted into a training facility next year.
I think it's no secret that most people think that racing is somewhat on the decline. But one thing that I think has been missed over and over again is the beauty and the pageantry of the event itself. I think our industry and our industry leaders are often way too concerned about wagering dollars and overlook the fact of the product they have to offer on the racetrack.
Laurel Park is the latest of many storied racetracks to close in recent decades. This comes as attendance at racetracks has slowed and gambling increasingly moves online.
In war-torn Gaza, a group of girls find solace in a strength-building activity. Girls of all ages in Gaza's Muwazi area of Khan Yunis practice boxing as an outlet from being displaced by war. They line up to strike punching bags, releasing energy as the sun beams down on them. In conservative Gaza, boxing has been long considered an unusual activity for girls. Before the war, girls typically trained in gyms. However, the war has left limited recreational spaces. While the boxing practice area has upgraded some equipment, the group is still lacking a ring and padding. Their coach says working toward a goal gives the girls motivation during difficult times.
And quite the adventure for a kitten down in Florida after getting trapped in a storm drain. This is video of rescuers in Ocala, Florida, bringing that kitten to safety. But this kitten wasn't interested in a quick rescue. Crews came out on day one, entered the drain, but the kitten ran deeper into the pipe, and due to nightfall, that search had to be called off that day. The next morning, Ocala Fire and Rescue, Ocala Public Works, and Marion County's Animal Services all worked together, setting up a trap inside the drain and blocking exits to encourage the kitten to come out. The kitten did come out, but then it ran across the street into another pipe.
Oh, no.
After several attempts to lure the feline out once again, they decided to use a gentle stream of water to force the kitten out of its hiding place and into the hands of rescuers.
Oh, well, I'm glad it's safe. And that little picture right there, it looks so scared.
Yeah,
it's
probably
little bug eyes.
didn't know what was going on.
Oh, no,
Then they're
probably.
shooting water at it and all this stuff. And
poor kitty.
it's fine now.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, that's all the time that we have left for this morning. But as always, we thank you for joining us.
Yeah, tune in at noon. I'm sure we're going to have some live
We'll have
coverage
some live
of
shots, yeah.
J.D. Vance's, the Vice President's visit to Bangor this afternoon, and then a complete wrap-up of that tonight on ABC 7 News at 6 as well.
Yep.
So should be quite a day here in Bangor. Thanks for being there, everyone. We hope you have a wonderful day.
Today on 25 Words or Less, he's famous for making bold career choices, like trading this absolute dumpster fire of a show. It's Dan Bukatinsky! And joining Dan are co-workers Anthony and Antoine. She's here today because, I don't know, I guess